which is the question and answer portion. So, ladies and gentlemen, our top 12, how are you?
I'm fine.
I'm good, and I really had a great time hosting this pageant. It's very vibrant. Your question is, are you ready? All right.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Your question is, a lot of young LGBT member suffers internal discrimination and abuse by their own family. As a millennial, how would you empower these young LGBT members to go on and continue with their lives? Once again, I repeat the question. A lot of young LGBT members suffer internal discrimination and abuse by their own family. As a millennial, how would you empower these young LGBT members to go on and continue with their lives?
Thank you so much for that. I believe as an individual, we are capable of knowing ourselves more. I will not say anything to that particular person because when you empower someone or when someone needs your help, just simply be there. Because your presence will play the big role to their life. I think that is more empowering. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Some of our LGBT members have a limited access to education, especially those who live in the urban and mountain areas. If they are standing right in front of you, what words of empowerment would you tell them to motivate and inspire them? Again, some of our LGBT members have a limited access to education, especially those who live in the urban and mountain areas. If they are standing right in front of you, what words of empowerment would you tell them to motivate and inspire them?
And that's really true. We LGBT are still, there is still social exclusion, we are still marginalized, and there are still few things that we LGBT don't have the access with. So since as a strong advocate of self-awareness and as a member of LGBT community, we just have to focus on ourselves. And the moment we focus on ourselves, we can do better in life, and that way we can empower people to empower themselves as well. And in that way they can motivate themselves, and we will be all motivated together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again. So, pick your question. Miss Palawan, are you ready?
Yes, I do.
The world is aging and so are we. A lot of our LGBT members grew old and left alone. How can we empower golden LGBTs or LGBT at their 50s and alone that life is still wonderful? Once again, I'll repeat the question. The world is aging and so are we. A lot of our LGBT members grew old and left alone. How can we empower golden LGBTs or LGBT in their 50s and alone that life is still wonderful?
Alright, thank you for that wonderful question. I do relate for that situation since I'm already 36 years old. I'm already in my midlife crisis. And I also have aunts who are transgender, who are in their 50s and 60s right now. I can see that they are still living their lives to the fullest. So I can still look up to them, looking at myself, aging that time, that life can still be wonderful and we can still live life to the fullest. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Miss Palawan. Oops. Oh, sure. Siya ko rin mabasa sa iyong question. Alright, I still have to read that for our judges in our audience, okay? So your question, but I'll just read it once na lang. So your question is, we all suffered years of restrictions because of the pandemic. And this also affects the entertainment lives and careers of our brothers and sisters in the LGBT. How can you empower those who depend their life in the field of entertainment now that we are slowly back on track?
Good evening. I am a 3 years makeup artist. When the pandemic came in our country, it is very sad because I am the only girl in our family, and no one can help my mother and father. When the pandemic came in our when the pandemic affects in our, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Miss Tashin. Are you good? Okay. People often say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Others can afford to do enhancements and maintenance while others cannot. How would you convince these young trans that they are beautiful in their own skin? Again? People often say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Others can afford to do enhancements and maintenance, while others cannot. How would you convince these young trans that they are beautiful in their own skin?
Okay, thank you for that very wonderful question. I just want to tell the youngster that who wants to do surgical enhancement, just be happy and be contented. Because always remember, ladies and gentlemen, as long as you are contented, you can be happy whatever you want, wherever you want to go. And always remember this, that contentment is a satisfaction of happiness. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, South Cotabato. For you, did you expect to be, getting in the top 12?
Actually, I didn't expect. I'm feeling nervous right now, but still Laban.
Okay, not bad. Very good. All right, your question is, in the Philippines, lawmakers had a long overdue discussions and debates about the passing of anti-discrimination bill, or the so-called SOGI bill. How can you be an instrument of an empowered LGBT member knowing you are not fully protected? Again, in the Philippines, lawmakers had a long overdue discussions and debates about the passing of anti-discrimination bill, or the so-called SOGI bill. How can you be an instrument of an empowered LGBT member knowing you are not fully protected?
Thank you for that wonderful question. The question is OG Bill, which is Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here standing in front of you for the LGBTQ community, a gay who fights for our rights, and we are also here for those people who discriminate us. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing is I want to say, respect us even who we are, learning what we have. Because until at the end of the day, still, we are eating at the same food, breathing at the same air. Still, we are equally same. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. There you have it, guys. And if you have observed, the candidates, they always say, thank you for that wonderful question.